to tell them that you plan to marry me at least within the next year and a half.
Okay, but
Do it.
they will
No.
answer.
Tell them right now.
Oh, you thought Jen and Rishi actually broke up? How naive of you. These two are caught in a tortuous web that isn't so easy to unweave. So will this time be different? Well, one thing's for sure, Rishi's got a lot of damage control to do.
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, अब आप परमिशन चाहे करो चाहे नहीं करो, ठीक है, मैं उसके साथ शादी करने वाला हूँ.
I can't believe he actually did it. Bravo, Rishi. But before we celebrate too hard, let's start at the beginning, before the entire cast forced Rishi into telling the truth. So how on earth did Jen and Rishi go from finally ending their insane relationship to being back on speaking terms, and possibly even more?
I was actually invited to a wedding, a mutual friend's wedding, and Rishi was also there, and there was something else, I think, in store for us.
I knew it. I knew that Jen wouldn't stick to her guns and stay away from Rishi. If she really gets back together with him after he chose to honour his family commitments over her, then from here on out, she absolutely isn't allowed to complain about it anymore. She's jumping back into it, knowing all the facts this time. So it's all on her. But just how close did they get when they reconnected?
I'm not saying that we weren't intimate.
Oh, the first time in more than 2 years, right?
Oh, Jen, you not only fell back into his arms, but you also threw out the no sex until marriage rule. What happened to the whole milk the cow thing that you were spouting at the start of the season?
Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? You know what I mean? Like, it would be so much simpler, right?
I hate the comparison, but now Rishi's back to getting milk for free. We already know that he said no to buying the cow because it involved upsetting his family. So why is Jen no longer worried about that?
I can't make him choose between his family and me the same way that if he were ever to ask me to choose between my family and him, I mean, I couldn't.
It feels like we're back at square one with these two. I agree that Jen shouldn't make Rishi choose between his family and her, but Rishi shouldn't have put her in a position where she felt the need to choose. There's a healthy balance here that these two can't seem to reach. But not all the cast is as ready to let Rishi off the hook. Debbie, for example, is highly unimpressed with Rishi, and she's not afraid to let him know.
I think Rishi didn't stand up to his mother for you.
Yep.
I think he was a coward.
Now, I think first and foremost, Debbie needs to learn how to pronounce Rishi's name.
Rishi.
But she is right. Rishi didn't stand up to his family. In fact, from what we saw, he didn't even try. And that must have been a hard watch for Jen. The thing is, while his actions may have come across as cowardly, Debbie also needs to understand that his relationship with his family is complex. It's steeped with generations of Indian culture and values. So what do other cast members think? Well, to no one's surprise, Gabe also has an opinion.
Do you feel like Rishi has not grown up?
No. And I'm telling you this, bro, you don't got no balls. You gotta stick up for your woman.
I think the way you let Jen go, I have to listen to my mother. There was no passion. Where was your passion for her?
You don't defend your woman, bro.
Debbie, please, come on. Look where passion got you. I think both Gabe and Debbie are seeing this through a Western lens, and both of them should perhaps be a bit more empathetic. Like Debbie's own son warned her against Osama. She should have listened to him. She should be more understanding of Rishi listening to his own family's concerns about Jen. But as frustrated as Debbie is, she's about to cross a line.
On this case, she need to go back because...
Yeah. She need to go back. It's like, no. She didn't need to go back.
Wow. Debbie's true colours are beginning to show. Apparently, Miss Debbie, who loves art, poetry, and a lot of the spirituality that comes from India, also thinks it's okay to mock an Indian accent. Real classy, Debbie. But you know what's even less classy? The fact that absolutely no one stops her. No one defends Rishi, not even Jen. In fact, Gabe doubles down in his attack of Rishi and Jen just nods.
Bro, you say a lot of words and you just dance in circles for nothing. Just say what you have to say.
Jen is up here nodding.
Because it's true.
This isn't something that we haven't said ourselves. We know that Rishi likes to talk as a way of deflecting. And while I think that part of it is definitely intentional so that he can weasel out of the promises that he's made Jen, we also can't lose sight of the fact that English isn't his first language. That might be playing a role too. Now, the pair may have reconnected, but Jen is just sitting there, allowing her castmates to humiliate Rishi. And that makes me wonder if they're actually together.
A lot of things would have to happen, and I'm not confident they would happen.
Rishi, do you consider Jen your fiance or just your girlfriend?
I think fiance still.
Let me get this straight. Jen dumped you after you told her your family wouldn't approve of her. You weren't willing to fight for her. She gave back the ring. She just said that she doesn't consider herself engaged. And yet, Rishi still called her his fiance. Something doesn't add up. If your family doesn't approve and you're not willing to go against them, how can she still be your fiance, Rishi? But things are about to get a whole lot worse for Rishi, because guess who's now invited on stage? None other than our favourite evil stepsisters, Randy and Myra.
Because there was some more that he sent to you in your DM.
Yes.
What else did he say?
She wanted to see something like a shirtless pic. I said already.
I saw it
I
on
said
your
already.
feed. Oh, you asked for a shirtless pic.
Someone please tell me, why do these two keep showing up? I feel like they got more airtime this season than even some of the couples. All they do is show up and stir the pot. Myra tries to claim that there was more to those catfish messages than was shown on our screens. But the truth is, unless you've got more proof than the fact that he sent you a private message of a photo he publicly posted anyway, well, then it's time to drop this. So, after reading the room and realising that no one really cares about these fake DMs, Randy then pivots into accusing Rishi of cheating.
I have a feeling that he's probably been with other women.
It's not true.
Do you think he was with other women during the time that they were broken up, that 6 months?
Probably.
Now, the truth is, we have no idea whether or not Rishi was loyal to Jen during their 2 years apart. And, honestly, we may never know. But even Jen isn't taking Randy's accusations seriously anymore. She's come a long way from the insecure woman we saw at the start of the season. She looks and she's acting confident. But is her confidence actually confidence? Or is it because she no longer cares what Rishi does? Whatever love is left between Rishi and Jen, there's certainly no love lost between his family and her.
ऋषि का कहना है कि वो अभी वापस से एंगेजमेंट हुई है.
No, नहीं.
नहीं, इसके बारे में कोई नहीं.
So Rishi's doing what he's done best for the last 3 years. He and Jen reconnected, he considers her his fiancée again, yet he's only told his family that they're friends. That is, until the translator revealed otherwise. The guy just doesn't learn, and that is why Jen is so resistant to jumping back into an engagement with him. When given the chance to come clean, Rishi still twists his words.
के अभी हम वापस से जब मिले थे ना, तो अभी हमने सोचा है वापस से और साथ रहने का और इस तरीके का, और मैं मतलब सोच रहा हूँ शादी करने की इससे.
That is pretty good by Rishi standards, but we're not all the way there yet. I mean, that's not actually what was asked of him. He was supposed to tell his mum and uncle that he and Jen are currently engaged. After all, that's what he believes, right?
I think fiance still.
And yet, he can't say it. Rishi needs to be realistic. He carries a heavy burden of not only looking after his family financially, but also, on top of that, all the usual expectations that come from being the eldest son in an Indian family. So if he can't say it, he can't say it. Accept it and let Jen go. It's his insistence to cling on whilst also not being honest with his family that's driving everyone crazy. He can't have both. And even Mahmoud, of all people, is losing patience.
He really made me so confused because he don't say the truth to her. He just need to ask if he wanna hear as a wife or not. Just it.
You know you messed up when even Mahmoud is judging you. He's been so quiet up until now when it comes to commenting on other people's relationships. But as an Egyptian man who also lives in a joint family home, Mahmoud, more than anyone else on this cast, can understand Rishi's family commitments. Yet, he's also telling him to man up. But Rishi's really sick of the judgment and the pressure the cast have put him under. And he finally loses his cool.
I can't say like, okay, I'm going to marry just because of you, all of you, like you are pressuring over there. It doesn't matter.
Jen and the cast are backing Rishi into a corner. If he truly believes that he's still engaged to Jen, if he really means it, if it's not just words, then right here, right now, he needs to finally be honest with his family. He needs to finally pick Jen over his family, otherwise he's going to lose her. And where once upon a time Jen actually had a lot of respect and patience for Rishi's family, it's very telling that that well has now run dry.
स्मार्टो कोई वो नहीं है आप में कमी बस एज की कमी है नहीं तो हम ही स्वीकार कर लेते.
Yeah, we've heard that, but thanks for reiterating it.
Now, Jen's reaction to Rishi's mum here feels maybe not disrespectful, maybe that's not the right word for it, but it feels a little snappy, a bit short-tempered, like she's fed up with her. The problem is, that's definitely not how an elder, much less a potential mother-in-law, would expect to be spoken to in Indian culture. That little outburst definitely wouldn't have done her any favours of winning Rishi's mum round. Now, Rishi's mum is trying to be gentle. She's trying to tell Jen that she's a wonderful woman, but the reality is that her age makes having children complicated. And that, for them, is simply a deal breaker. But now that the conversation has turned to age, Debbie takes this opportunity to add her 2 cents.
What kind of small heart do you have, lady? Did you teach your son to be that way?
ट्रेंड से ज्यादा कुछ नहीं हो सकता इसमें.
Obviously, Jen and Rishi's 16-year age difference is nothing compared to Debbie and Osama's 43-year age gap. And that probably explains why Debbie has taken this so personally. But while she's entitled to do so, she's entitled to have an opinion. What I don't like is her audacity to attack Rishi's mum, judging her on the way she's raised her child. Debbie's own son, not too long ago, was there threatening Osama, telling him he's lucky they're not in the same studio. That's a threat of physical harm. She's got no right to judge Rishi's mum for having a son that wants to please her or make her happy. The hypocrisy from Debbie here is off the charts.
I'm not going to be age-shamed. I'm sorry.
Age-shamed? I don't know why the entire cast is acting like it's that baffling that Rishi's conservative Indian family are uncomfortable with the age difference between them. Whatever way you want to dress it up, 16 years is a significant age gap, especially in Indian society, a society that places a lot of importance and emphasis on marriages producing children. But it seems like this age issue has tipped Jen over the edge. Now she's resorted to giving Rishi ultimatums.
You need to tell them that you plan to marry me at least within the next year and a half.
Okay, but
Do it, no.
answer.
Tell them right now.
History really does have a habit of repeating itself, doesn't it? Once again, Jen is finding herself in a position where she needs to throw Rishi under a bus. With no warning, she finds herself having to force Rishi into revealing the truth about their relationship. In the same way that Rishi can't let go of her, it also seems like Jen can't let go of Rishi. She seems incapable of moving on, regardless of how many times he's let her down. It looks like she's gonna strong-arm her way into getting married. And to be honest, that might be exactly what Rishi needs.
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, अब आप परमिशन चाहे करो चाहे नहीं करो, ठीक है, मैं उसके साथ शादी करने वाला हूँ.
He did it. He actually did it. This is precisely what Jen's been begging him to do for years. In that moment, Rishi was strong. He trusted that his family's love is unconditional. That ultimately, they just want him to be happy. And guess what? After the entire cast and his fiance bullied him for 20 minutes non-stop, Rishi has finally done what we all hoped he'd do.
It sounds great, but it's a lot of talk, not a lot of action. You know what? If it happens, otherwise, I mean, like, I gotta move on.
Jen's protecting herself here. Rishi, in the past, has given her a lot of false hope only to let her down. So she's careful not to get too excited. But the irony here is that Jen has now put up this barrier where she's pretending she doesn't care. She's pretending it doesn't matter and if it happens, it happens. But it feels like this is a defense mechanism. This is her way of making sure she can't be hurt again. The thing is, now that Rishi's done the hard part, maybe he can finally be the man that Jen wants him to be. I guess time will tell, because I get the impression this won't be the last we see of them on our TV screens.